Honestly, when it comes on to getting a remote job, I believe that people are supposed to understand certain basic things. One, if you're looking at a remote job, just forget a fast work and start work from home. Take your mind off it. The remote job market isn't a market you can just go into just because you want to get a remote job and feel as if, oh, because you have to send out application every day, you go get the job. That's not how it works. Think about it. You can't get a local job or choose not to apply to a local job, even though the local job market is less competitive than the global job market. So when you're going into the global job market, why do you think minimum effort will get you the results you want to see? That's not how the job market works. And you need to understand that. And if you cannot understand that basic logic of the remote job market, you'll never experience success in the market. Because it's not just about wanting it and applying to jobs, it's about positioning. That's what you're going to need. I've seen job application posted, and within the first 24 hours, 9,000 applicants. And your local standard resume will not compete properly on that job market. When you're entering the remote job market, you need to think more than just your resume. Everybody keeps talking about your resume, your resume, your resume. You need to position yourself strategic. This is a growing market. Every day, more and more people enter the market. The only reason it's competitive is because everybody is doing the same thing, updating their resume, applying for jobs. It's about positioning, and positioning include optimizing your resume properly. And optimizing your resume, I mean one fancy design. Optimizing your resume mean optimizing the way you present your experience on paper. You also need to optimize your cover letter. This is where you will now take that experience that you just put on the resume, and you're going to craft a story to tell the company or the hiring manager why your skill set is what they need. So your resume shows your skill set, and the cover letter shows how your skill set applies to them and their needs. You're going to also need to optimize your LinkedIn profile because, accept it or not, you need an online presence to become trustworthy, to be seen as trustworthy in this market. Because me no know you. You send me your application. At least allow me to go on LinkedIn and find you to see if you're actually somebody worth working with, to see if you're a real person, to see how you present yourself. And finally would be your introduction audio script, because your resume can sound great, your cover letter can sound great, but if I ask you for an introduction audio or an introduction video, and you cannot articulate yourself properly, if you cannot speak standard English, why will I consider you a strong candidate? So these are the things that you need to position yourself. And if you were paying attention, you know how each aspect leads into the next. You cannot break into the international remote job market and be successful otherwise. People out here have stories of them being successful just from their resume. But what amount of people come with that same story? What amount? That's what you should be thinking of. Everybody is not a Mary Jane. Not everybody has the same luck. Some people need positioning. You have the skills, you just don't know how to position yourself. And you need to understand that before you can break into the international remote job market. This market is not for desperate people. It's for people who are looking to build a career working remotely. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes commitment and intentionality. If you cannot commit to it, do not enter it, because you only go end up crying because you're not going to see the success you want to see. And something else I want you guys to keep in mind. Based on my observation, after helping over 3,000 people in this market, there are three pay structures in the remote job market. The first one is companies that pay between $3 per hour up to $6 per hour. These are companies that do not prioritize experience to a certain extent. What they prioritize is cheap labor. And 90% of the persons who are looking international remote job, that's the only side of the market they know, the cheap labor market. And that's where majority of people are applying, the cheap labor market. And that's why some people will have success stories with just a resume and then get the job. However, there are two other tiers that I have identified. Companies that pay between $7 per hour up to $12 per hour, they are looking more at your skill level, your experience, your positioning. To them, it's still cheaper labor than the United States, right? But they're paying you enough for you to work at a certain level. They will not just hire any and anyone. And that's something you need to understand. And then there are companies that pay $13 USD and more. These are people who are serious about remote workers. These are the companies that when they hire you, they're expecting to hire for the long term. These are companies you don't see posting job every single day, because when they post and they hire, they retain. But the companies that pay $3 to $6 per hour, they do not retain their employee. They're unstable. They have a high turnover rate. Companies that pay $6, $7 to $12, it's a bit better. The turnover rate is not as bad, but $13 up, that's where the gold mine is. And that's where positioning comes in. If you're okay settling for $3 to $5 per hour, maybe $6 per hour, then continue doing what you're doing. As a matter of fact, don't continue doing what you do. Upgrade yourself, look a bit. But if you want to break out of that $6 price range, I would recommend taking position in yourself very seriously. Because once again, the remote job market is not a market for desperate people, it's a market for serious people. Hope that helped. This was my first YouTube video, so like and subscribe. Love y'all.